I know, these are amazing. Yeah, and they're so clear. I never have any problems with the sound or anything. It's brilliant. So, very good morning to everybody. Lovely to be here with you all today. Um, this is the last class before we break for the holidays. So, yeah, thought we'd keep things as we normally do, just a little bit of a longer relaxation at the end. But yeah, expect some movement, some breathing, some meditation, and some inner connection potentially. So we're going to start off in a seat if that feels comfortable for you. So you may wish to sit on something that supports your body. Maybe a chair is an appropriate thing to sit on, maybe a cushion or a blanket. If you do want to turn those rags down, Vicky, feel free. Yeah, yeah, no, it is quite warm in here. If it does get too warm, just let me know. So we're going to just start to bring our attention inwards. And as you begin to bring your attention inwards, you may do that by closing your eyes. You might do that by focusing your gaze against something that isn't moving. But just notice how the body responds to that invitation to move inwards. Notice whether there's a rigidity to the body, if we're holding any tension or any tightness, or if we can allow ourselves to be in a alert but also relaxed position. And sometimes those things can almost feel like a sort of a conflict. That's all right, don't worry, coming in. So then you might want to find your hand in a place that feels comfortable for you. So you might adopt a mudra. That could be a nice thing to do. Maybe there's a familiar mudra that you know from previous classes. Maybe there's just a way or a gesture to bring your hand that feels relaxing or comfortable for you. We are going to use a specific mudra in a few moments' time. But right now, we're just going to do a short check-in with how we are on all of the different layers of ourselves, or in the yoga practice, they're known as our koshas. So the first layer relates to our sort of physicality, to our body. So our skin, our bones, our muscles, our organs, even the kind of fluid and the connective tissue within our bodies. So just checking in with how that body is. Noticing in this moment if there's any adjustments that you need to do, any sort of mini or micro movements, or maybe there's just a natural stretch that happens to allow the body to feel a little bit more settled, a little bit more comfortable. But also you might have some things happening with your body at this moment in time. There might be conditions or things that you're working with or working around, supporting through this practice today. So just acknowledging that body that you've arrived in, how that body is, how it feels. And the next layer of ourselves is the energetic layer. So I want you to just notice how you're feeling energetically at this moment. There's something about this time of year that I think most people I've spoken to are kind of saying they feel like their batteries are feeling a little bit low. But equal with that, there's a lot of frenetic energy around as well. So it's just interesting just to kind of notice where you are with all of that today. Maybe if you're at home, it feels different to being in the studio. Maybe internally and externally, there's a difference. Maybe experiences that you might be feeling energetically between the body and the mind might feel different. Our relationship to energy is also very much determined by how and the way that we're breathing. So I'd like you to just spend a few moments just to connect with the breath, to connect with the coming and the going of the in-breath and the out-breath. Noticing how the breath is. And the lovely thing about observing is we haven't got to change it or do anything different with the breath. We're just becoming the observer, observing the length, observing the frequency, the volume, the sound, the temperature of the breath. So we're going to stay with this idea of energy for a few moments. And what I'd like you to do is bring your hands into a position called Padma Mudra. So now whenever I think of this, I always think of Kylie and Padam. I want to say that, but it's not, it's Padma. But we're bringing our hands into this sort of cup shape. So you're touching your little fingers together, your thumbs together, and it's almost like you're creating a sort of chalice or a cup. So I want you to hold that quite close towards your body, maybe around sort of the center of the chest or breast area. If you think about this cup representing how we're doing energetically today, notice how full your cup is. Notice how it feels when you recognize maybe where that cup is and how full or depleted it may feel. And what I'd like you to consider, using our minds and using our intuitive self, is if we was to fill this cup with things that are going to support and nourish us, what may those things be? Could be some really simple things like feeling a bit more rested. It might be about creating a bit more time for ourselves. It might be using our voices and maybe saying no to certain things that we really don't have to do. But it also could be things such as doing things for ourselves that give us pleasure, doing things for ourselves that make us feel closer to the true version of ourselves. So as we move through this practice today, I want you to really respond to maybe what your wants, needs, desires, wishes, and prayers may be. That's allowing you to guide what you need from this practice today, based upon what you may have learned in this moment, or based upon what your intuitive wisdom is saying in the moment. And what I'd like you to do is keeping the hands in this chalice shape. Raise the hands all the way up towards the ceiling. I'm going to take a big breath in and reach up as high as we can. And as we exhale, just let the hands just float away. Just letting go of all those intentions, all those wishes, all those desires. As we inhale, bring the hands all the way back up. You might want to look up to the hands that are above you. And then join the hands together in Amanjali Mudra and bring them down to the heart center. So we're going to inhale as we reach up and we look up. And as we exhale, just gently floating those arms down. Inhale as we float the arms back up, looking up to the sky. And as we exhale, bring those hands back to the heart center. Let's just take a moment here to recite the mantra Om once. You can do it silently. You might want to do it vocally with me. Let's take a breath in. Om. Taking this moment to seal those intentions, our expectations, and welcoming ourselves into this practice individually and as a collective altogether. So I'd like you to release your hands gently down onto the legs or onto the floor. And we're going to bring ourselves up to stand. So as you come up to stand, I want you to just clear anything off of your mat, just so you've got enough space to be able to step back or forwards. We're going to stand with our feet, so they're going to be roughly hip distance apart. And just take a few moments, just as you're standing, just kind of letting yourself just feel into the body. So just letting the body readjust, very similar to how we did when we first sat down. Now we're up standing, there'll be different parts of ourselves where our energy or our weight will be pushed through, or where we'll feel our connection to the surfaces beneath. But also just doing those little sort of micro shifts or movements just to kind of welcome yourself into a position that feels a little bit more at ease for ourselves. We're going to open our eyes at this point, and then what I'd like you to do is just gently spread your fingers and send them down towards the earth. Have a very slight bend of your knees as well. Then as we inhale, we're going to float our hands up towards the ceiling. So keep looking ahead for the moment. Then as we exhale, we're going to float those arms gently back down by our sides. Keep spreading those fingers. Now, if taking the arms overhead feels too much, you're going to just bring them up in alignment with the chest. If you need something a little bit lower impact, maybe you're suffering with a condition or an illness today that is depleting your energy. So we're just going to repeat this a couple more times. Just moving with that breath. Inhaling as we float upwards. Exhale as we float back down. Now, if you feel okay, as we lift up this next time, you're going to lift up onto the tips of your toes and the balls of your feet. And then as we exhale, we're going to bring our heels down and float the arms down. So if you feel you maybe need some support, you can always stand against the wall and do this. You might want a chair in front of you and just keep one hand on the chair and do alternate arms as you lift and lower. So this gentle movement is really helping to engage through the upper body, the lower body, the really useful strengthening, but also activating sequence for the legs, the ankles, and the abdomen. So when you feel ready, we're going to bring the heels down, bring the hands back. And this time we're just going to touch the back of our legs. So just kind of below the buttocks, right at the top of the hamstrings. Slight bend of our knees again. We're going to take an in-breath here and elongate through the spine. As we exhale, we're going to slip our fingers down the back of our legs. So down the hamstrings, past the calves, maybe to the ankles or to the feet. Bring the hands onto the shins, and as we inhale, we're going to look up and slide the hands up the shins. As we exhale, we're going to fold forward, sliding the hands down towards the feet and the earth. And then as you inhale, slide the fingers all the way up the back to the leg, all the way back up to the top. So we're going to inhale again at the top. Exhale as we slide those fingers down the back of the legs. Hands come onto the front of the legs. Inhale to slip up the shins. Exhale to slip back down the shins. Inhale as you come all the way back up the back of the legs. And exhale at the top. Inhaling again, get tall. Exhale as you slide down the back of the legs again. Hands on the shins as you inhale to look up. Exhale, fold back onto those legs. Inhale, come all the way back up the legs. And exhale at the top. We're going to bring our hands onto our hips now. And we're going to step our right leg back behind us. Now, as we step that right leg back, you need to make sure that your right heel is going to stay on the floor. We're going to be bending and straightening our left leg. So if you need to bring that foot forwards a little bit, if you also need to step it out a little bit wider, for many people, if you feel a little bit unbalanced in this position, a wider stance is really going to help. Then we're going to turn our hips so they're facing forwards. Our eyes and our shoulders are also facing forwards. We're going to release the hands away from the hips. And as we inhale, we're going to bend our front knee and then we're going to float the arms up. But this time, see if you can look up to the ceiling. As you exhale, straighten that front leg and float the arms back down by the hips. So we're going to move in and out of this a few more times. Just exploring how that feels. You might want to engage through the fingers, so you're sort of flexing the fingers away from you. This might increase the velocity or volume of the breath. Remember, if you need a low impact practice, just bring the arms up to the chest height. It's a really useful position here, again, for strengthening through the knee joint, through the ankle joint. We're using the quads, using the glutes. We're going to move into this position known as Warrior One, and we're going to stay here for a couple of breaths. So keep looking up if you can, keep spreading through those fingers, keep pushing that back heel down firmly into the earth. One more breath in. As we exhale, let's float the hands forward, straighten the front knee, and let's step forwards with that back leg. Bring the hands onto the back of the legs again. Take a big breath in. Exhale, fold down those legs again. Similar to, same as what we did before. Inhale to look up, lift the chest, lift the gaze. Exhale, fold onto those legs. We're just going to pause here, couple of breaths, just to kind of hang forwards in this forward fold. You might find yourself wanting to have a little sway. You might want to have a little shake of the arms or a shake of the head. You might want to bend knees. Just kind of having a little shake, having a little sort of let go of any tension through the back of the body. And then when you feel ready, bring the hands onto the back of the legs again. Inhale to lift yourself up. And exhale at the top. We're just going to take a moment just to settle where we've been upside down for a little while. You might feel yourself feeling a little bit dizzy. Hands are going to come back onto your hips again. We're going to step our left leg back behind us. So again, if you need to step that left foot out, please do. If you maybe need to step that left foot forwards or back, just bending that front knee, just to check that left heel stays down. We're going to do exactly the same thing as we did on the opposite side. So bringing the arms by your side, flexing through those fingers. As you inhale, you're going to bend that right knee and you're going to follow those fingertips up to the ceiling and lift your hands are staying in alignment with your chest. Then you're going to keep the hands in alignment, but look up. So inhale again, coming into this gentle back bend. Exhale to float back down. Just repeating that 3 more times. So a bit less instruction from me. Just noticing how that feels. Just to float in and out. And the next time you come into this position known as Warrior One, we're going to stay. Keep flexing through those fingers. Keep looking up to the sky if that's okay for neck and shoulders. Keep pushing that back heel down into the earth. Try and stay with that rhythmic breath as much as you're able to. Taking one more breath in. As you exhale, float the arms back down. Let's step that back foot forwards. We're going to step back into either an all fours or downward dog, but we're going to come to it in the same way as what we have been doing. So hands on the back of the legs. We're going to inhale again. Exhale, float down towards the earth. Hands on your shins. Inhale to look up. Exhale, bend your knees and bend them in knees to bring your hands down onto the earth. Or if you need something in front of you like a bolster or support, then please do. Option number 1 could be to step back into downward dog. Option number 2 could to be step back with one knee and then the other knee, depending again on how much energy, whether you're feeling comfortable being upside down or whether you'd prefer to be in more of a flat back position. So if you're in downward dog, I want you to just walk through the heels. So lifting one heel up, pushing the other heel down. If you're in a all fours position, maybe just moving through the spine in a cat and cow type shape. So for those of you that are in downward dog, I'd like you to join us now in a 4-point kneeling position. So come down onto your knees. We're going to take an in-breath in this position. And then as we out-breath, we're going to round our back into a cat shape, but take our bottom down towards our heels. We're going to inhale and float ourselves gently back up, coming back up into that flat back position. And again, as you exhale around the back, think about drawing the navel slightly in and backwards and sinking down onto the heels. Now again, I'm going to let you do this a few times with less instruction. So just exploring how that feels. That movement through the body. So I'd like you to come back into child's pose. So bottom back towards the heels. Cross the forearms. Rest your forehead upon your forearms. If you find bringing your forehead to your forearms doesn't feel comfortable, you can always put a bolster or a block underneath. And just gently rock across the thighs. So you're just sort of allowing that upper thigh area to just gently massage into that lower abdominal area. So we're just gently sort of squeezing into those visceral organs. Fantastic. So when you feel ready, what I'd like you to do is lift your head off your forearms again. Bring your hands back in alignment with your shoulders and push yourself back up to 4-point kneeling. If you need any padding underneath your knees, I'm going to suggest maybe a blanket under here now, because we're going to put a little bit more weight through the knee joints. We're going to step our right foot forwards towards the top edge of our mat. And then what I'd like you to do is bring your hands onto your right thigh. So as you bring your hands onto your right thigh, we're going to see if we can sink down into that right knee. So we're bringing our weight forwards. And then we're going to see how it feels to just gently push back. So we're putting more weight through that left knee. So we're going to inhale as we sink forwards. Exhale as we push back. So just a couple more times. Again, if you need to pad up that left knee, please do. Sometimes putting that extra weight through it can be a little bit uncomfortable. So we're going to come into our lunge this time. And rather than having the hands on the thighs, we're going to interlace our hands behind our backs if we can do. So squeeze those shoulder blades together, hands in a fist, and see if you can project that fist down towards the earth. Let the eyes look gently out towards the horizon. Softness with your gaze. Fantastic. We're going to release the hands, bring them down either side of our right foot. We're going to step our right knee back to join our left. We're going to take a little bit of pressure off of that left leg by tucking those left toes back behind ourselves and push that left knee, or sorry, push the left heel back. So we're stretching through the back of that left calf, stretching through the back of that left knee joint. We are going to swap over, so bring your left knee down, bring your right knee off of the floor, tucking those right toes under and just gently pushing back into that right heel. Brilliant. And then bring yourself down so both knees are on the floor. We're going to step our left foot forwards. Again, if you need to pad up this right knee, please do. Bring your hands onto your left thigh. So again, we're just going to see how it feels to lunge forward and then gently push through that left foot and shift the weight back into that right knee. So if possible, we're going to inhale to move forward, exhale to move out. Just a couple more times. Again, if this is causing pain in that knee joint, I'd suggest put more padding underneath it. So we're going to come into that lunge. And again, we're going to see if we can bring the hands behind our back. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Push the fists down towards the earth. And let's see if we can lift our gaze and maybe look up towards the ceiling. So we're coming into a little bit of a deeper back bend, but in this lunge position. One more breath in. As you exhale, release the hands, bring them either side of that left foot. We're going to bring ourselves back to our 4-point kneeling position. This time, rather than being on our wrists, we're going to interlace our hands and come onto our elbows. We're going to tuck our right toes under and push our right heel back behind ourselves. So we're working a little bit more through the shoulders and the upper back by being in this slightly altered position to the one that we was in previously. And we're going to swap over. So bring that right knee down, step the left leg back behind you, tucking those left toes under and pushing that left heel away from you. all the while we're doing this, our abdominal muscles are really having to work to stabilize ourselves. So kind of one of those multifunctional positions. Why it feels so challenging. Then bring the left knee down. We're going to push ourselves up into a high kneeling position. As we come into this high kneeling position, what we're going to do is tuck our toes under. We're going to interlace our hands again behind our back, squeeze those shoulder blades together, push our hips slightly forward, and just see if we can look up towards the ceiling. So again, we've got another variation of a back bend happening here. Bit more of a deeper abdominal stretch. Taking one more breath in. And as you exhale, releasing. We're going to unhook our toes. We're going to step our right foot forwards. As you step your right foot forward, bring your hands either side of your right foot. We're going to tuck our left toes under, lift our left knee up, and then turn your left foot so it's parallel with the back of your mat. Bend your front knee a little bit more, and let's bring ourselves up to stand. So just straightening both of those legs. So your right leg wants to be facing forward. We're going to bend our right knee, bring our arms up at shoulder height, and then turn your gaze and look towards your right hand, so your front hand. Relax through your shoulders a little bit more. Think about, if you can do, I was talking about this last week, rather than to help engage through the legs, imagine that you're drawing the feet slightly together. So imagine you're sort of drawing the feet towards each other, and you'll feel that really switches on through the abductor muscles. The glutes will switch on. So this can look a really passive and easy position, but actually there's a lot going on. So once we are ready here, one more breath. We're going to bring our left hand, so our back hand onto our thigh. We're going to straighten our front leg, and we're going to reach our right hand up to the ceiling, and then turn the hand around so it's facing back behind you. Reach up as high as you can. Spread those fingers as wide as you can. Take a big breath in. As we exhale, we're going to float our hands back to that position where they were in before. We're going to come into a triangle. So keep the right hand at shoulder height for a moment, but reach it over. So imagine you're reaching over your right toes. Then we're going to bring our right hand somewhere onto the leg. So it could be the quad, could be the shin, might be the ankle or the foot. Lean into that right leg, and then turn your gaze and look up towards your left hand. And see again if you can project it up towards the ceiling. Now, if you need a lower impact version, bring the left hand onto the waist or tuck it behind the back, but continue to look up towards the ceiling if you're able to with your neck. Let's take one more big breath in here. As we exhale, we're going to float ourselves gently back up. We're going to bend our front knee. As we bend our front knee, we're going to bring our hands either side of that right foot, swivel on those left toes, and then again, you might bring that left knee down and step back to all fours. You might choose to step back into downward dog. Your choice. Again, just do a little bit of movement here, whatever feels right. You might want to have a little wag of the tail. You might want to do some circles with the neck. You might find yourself in downward dog, maybe taking the feet a bit wider and sort of working into the waist a little bit more. So again, just feeling into what feels right for you in this moment. We're going to come down onto our knees. As we come down onto our knees, we're going to turn this position into a twisting position. So what I'd like you to do is left hand, you're going to slide it across your mat, right to the middle of your mat, so it's directly in front of your nose. You're then going to step your left leg back a little bit further back than your right leg. Bring that left knee down. Then the right hand, we're going to project it out to the side, and maybe reach up towards the ceiling. So we're twisting our body, looking up to the sky. And then we're going to feed that right arm underneath our left arm and stretch it all the way through that window of the left-hand side. So as we inhale, we're going to draw ourselves out of this threading the needle, come into a twist, looking up to the ceiling. And then as we exhale, we're going to twist, pushing the hands through that left side. So a couple more times. So we're twisting the torso. Again, we're slightly destabilizing ourselves, being in this position where we've moved the hand and the knee. So we're having to use sort of external stabilizing muscles through the side of the body to allow this movement to happen. Let's do that one more time. Brilliant. So push into your left hand, bring yourself back up to our 4-point kneeling position. So you're bringing the hands back under shoulders, knees back underneath the hips. Let's just do a few moments just to kind of move and free any tension that we might be holding in the body. Just kind of fluid movement, just kind of wiggling or sighing or helping that nervous system just to kind of reset itself. And then we're going to slide the right hand across to the middle of the mat. So the nose and the hand are almost in alignment with each other. And then step that right knee back a little bit further than your left knee. So when you feel ready, we're going to stretch that left hand out, maybe twist and look up to the ceiling. Let's inhale here. And as we exhale, we're going to feed that left arm underneath that right armpit. Inhale to draw yourself out, twist up to the sky again. And exhale as you feed underneath that right little window underneath your armpit. So let's do that a couple more times, just flowing with this sequence, just exploring how this feels. Again, if you need a low impact, you don't need to stretch the arm up. You could just have the hand resting on the chest area and just twist in a much more sort of smaller way, if that feels better for you. You can bring your head onto the mat. It kind of just depends on, you know, where you go. Yeah, if it doesn't happen, don't fix it. So one more in and out. I think we did a bit more on that side than the other side. And then we're going to bring ourselves back to our 4-point kneeling position. Okay, from our 4-point kneeling position, we're going to push ourselves up into a high kneeling position. We're going to tuck our toes under again. We're going to do something slightly different here, okay? So float your arms in alignment with your chest. We're going to see if we can make a Z shape with our body. So you're going to take your shoulders back. Keep your arms, squeeze the thighs together. Have a little smile on your face. You can feel it working. One more breath in. Again, this looks so easy, doesn't it? And then release. Well done, everyone. So we're going to come forwards with our left leg now. So we're going to step our left foot to the top of the mat. Bring our hands either side of our left foot. We're going to tuck our right toes under if that feels okay to do that. Lifting our right knee up. And then we're going to turn our right foot so it's parallel with the back of the mat. We're going to transfer ourselves into our warrior 2 position. So I'm just going to turn around so it's a little bit easier for those online to see. So you should have your left hand, left knee should be forwards. So think about relaxing through those shoulders a little bit more. Think about that action of drawing the legs slightly together and engaging through that kind of lower or upper legs, really engaging through that core area. We're going to reverse this warrior. So you're going to bring your back hand, which is your right hand, onto your thigh. We're going to straighten our left leg. reach that left hand up and then turn it around so it's facing back behind you. And then spread those fingers as wide as you can possibly spread them. Feel that stretch across the left rib area. Take another big breath in. We're going to keep the legs where they are, but float the arms back into that wide position. Look along your left arm. Stretch your left hand and arm over your left toes, and then bring your left hand onto your leg. So it might be the quad, it might be the shin, it might be the ankle. Turn your gaze and look up past that right shoulder. Floating that right arm up is optional. You might prefer to tuck it back behind you. Feeling that breath through that right side of the body. So this position known as Trikonasana, the triangle pose. Really lovely position, which helps to gently release tightness through that rib area and through the waist. When you feel ready, bend your front knee, bring your arms back up into that warrior position, and then bend the front knee more, bring the hands either side of that right foot, swivel onto those left toes. We're actually going to bring our left knee down, step our right knee back to join. We're going to tuck our toes under, but take our knees a little bit wider if we can do, and then start to walk ourselves towards our legs. And then if possible, lift the knees off of the floor, bringing yourself into a squatting position. So you might want to keep your hands on the floor. You might prefer to bring your hands onto your knees or onto your thighs. This will challenge your balance. I find actually I need to take my feet a little bit wider, and that feels a bit more comfortable for my body. You might also want to bring your hands into Amanjali Mudra. Push the elbows into the knees, but squeeze the knees into the elbows. If you need to put something maybe under the feet, you can do that. Some blocks, some pillows. Some people prefer to have their feet flat. If this is playing havoc with your knees, an alternative to do is lie on your back, bring your feet together, and then hold your ankles or hold your shins. So this will take all that pressure off those knees. So one more breath here. Brilliant. And then what we're going to do is gently begin to bring ourselves forward, come back into a kneeling position. And then we're going to swing our legs around and just stretch them out in front of ourselves. You may well wish to have a block or something to sit upon. We're going to do a seated twist. I'd like you to stretch your legs away from you. Allow yourself to sit tall from your seat up towards your crown. We're going to bring our right leg and draw our right leg in towards ourselves. We're going to see if we can step our right foot over our left leg. Now, option here could be to keep this left leg straight, or some of you might find it the ability to be able to bring your left ankle towards your right glute. Now, if you start to sort of lean, as you can see, I'm leaning to one side. So I would suggest if you're doing what I'm doing, keep that leg out. You want to make sure both of those glutes are firmly pressed down. So hands around your right shin, sit yourself up nice and tall. Think about relaxing through your shoulders. And then we're going to think about twisting towards our right hand side. So you're going to bring your left arm, you're going to wrap it around that right knee and squeeze that right leg a little bit closer in towards the abdomen. Extend your right arm up to the ceiling. Think about getting space through that right side of the body. And then you're going to bring your right hand back behind you. So you want to be going that way. So you're twisting towards the radiator. Bring that elbow around. That's it. Yeah, that's it. You're going that way. So you're looking over your right shoulder. So this is more of a twist kind of to the mid and upper part of the back. We're going to do a twist a little bit later, which is going to be a little bit more focused on the lower part of our back and our pelvic region. Think about softening through the shoulders. Turn yourself so you're facing towards the front again. You could keep your legs in this formation. And then what I'd like you to do is stretch your arms ahead of you. You're going to cross your right elbow on top of your left and then bring your hands either onto your shoulders, bring your hands back to back, bring your palms together. Lift the elbows up, drop the chin slightly down, and just think about maybe leaning slightly in towards those legs. So we're breathing into the upper part of the back, into the mid part of the back. One more breath here. And then gently lifting yourselves up. I'm releasing the arms. I'm releasing the legs as well. So stretching both of the legs back out. Just have a little move through the legs. You might find yourself just wanting to bring the feet wider and kind of do an inward and outward rotation of the knees. You might prefer to just kind of sit forward and just kind of have a little shake of the legs or a little rub of the legs. That can feel quite nice sometimes, just to kind of reset them. And then when you feel ready, stretch the legs back out ahead of you. You're going to bring your left leg up towards you. Step our left foot over our right. Again, check how the hips are. If you're sort of feeling central, you could always bring that right leg in towards the left glute. Maybe you stay with the legs stretched out like I'm demonstrating. So sit up nice and tall again. We're going to twist towards our left hand side. So our right hand is going to stay on our right knee, or you might even bring that elbow around that left knee. You're going to extend your left arm up to the ceiling. Take a big breath in. Think about getting length through the side body, and then circle that left hand back behind you. So you're looking over that left shoulder in this seated twist position, working into that mid and upper part of the back. And when you feel ready, we're going to turn ourselves back towards the front. As you come back to the front, stretch your arms ahead of you. Cross your left elbow on top of your right. Again, hands can come onto shoulders, can come back to back, palms can come together. Lift the elbows up just a touch, drop the chin down just a touch, and maybe just start to round a little bit into that upper back. So you're just sort of bringing the weight towards those legs, creating that space between the shoulder blades. Can feel quite relieving for some people through the neck. Helping to maybe soften some of that tension and tightness around the shoulders. Fantastic. So gently releasing yourselves out. Again, if you want to just stretch your legs away, have a little shake of the legs. You might need to move the upper body a little bit. You might need to have a stretch. And then what I'm going to suggest we do is start to get ready for relaxation. So put on any layers that you're going to need. Bring all the stuff near you that you're going to need to help you to relax. All that stuff's really important. Important, relaxing stuff. Yeah, we're going to twist, through the, So let me show you an alternative that we can do instead, Chris. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the first actually, we're going to use our bolster for a second. So you're going to lie on your back. I want you to bring your bolster onto your left-hand side if you are needing to maybe support that lower back, that iliac joint a little bit more. If you know you can come over in a twist onto that left-hand side, you'll be absolutely fine. Stretch the right leg along the floor. Sorry, stretch the left leg along the floor. My apologies. And then bring your right foot on top of your left thigh. And then you're going to use your left hand and draw it over. And you might just want to just stop where the bolster is. So just kind of let yourself just get to that place where the bolster is. You might remove the bolster completely and continue to sort of twist around, coming into a deeper twist across that lower back sacroiliac joint. So your back will come off of the floor because you'll end up rolling on your left-hand side. So your right hand, which is kind of back behind you, some options here. One thing to do can be a really nice thing is to hold the back. So you might want to support where you're maybe feeling the tension or the tightness around that lower back area. Some of you might prefer to just stretch your right arm out to the side. Some of you might want to take your right arm over the top of your head. So not only are we twisting, we're also getting a lateral stretch through that right-hand side of the body. And the last thing to do is just find a comfortable place for the head. So that could be twisting away from the legs. That could be twisting towards the legs. Again, if you find it's a bit intense on the back, another thing you can do is your left leg that's straight along the floor, you can just bend it a little bit more. So you might find that is a bit more preferable, potentially. So when you feel ready, bring the head back to the center. Bring the arm, if you raised it, back by your side or bring it off of your back. And then gently roll yourself back onto your back. Let's hug our knees up in towards our body. Just a gentle rock across the back. Maybe some circles around. Then if you use the bolster, I'm going to suggest just take it from your left side and pop it over on your right hand side. Then I'm going to stretch your right leg along the floor so you're straightening that right leg. Placing the left foot on the right thigh. And then you're just going to feed that left knee over with the right hand, either using that bolster to rest the leg upon or removing that bolster if you don't need it and bringing it closer to the floor. Again, if you found it useful, you might want to give that left hand a kind of spot in the back that it can almost hold the back or maybe gently massage into the back. You might like to stretch your left arm out to the side. You might want to reach it over the crown. So again, you might want to twist your head to the left, the right, the center. Your right leg that is straight at this moment in time, you might prefer to bend it a little bit more. That might give you a little bit more softness, a little bit more ease. So when you feel ready, just gently begin to unwind yourself. Again, you might want to hug those knees up in towards yourself. You might want to have a little rock around on the back. If you are struggling with your back today, I'm going to suggest rather than lying on your back for relaxation, to lie on your side instead. That might be a more preferable thing to do. So I'd like you to just begin to gather those bits that you're going to need to help you to relax. So there might be some extra layers that you want to put over you. You might find it useful to maybe block out the light, maybe placing something not too heavy over the eyes. You might have a hood that you put up and pull over. So just giving yourself just a few moments just to let your body settle. Same as what we did when we first sat and then when we stood. Now we're lying and we're allowing the body to have this opportunity to just find the place where it feels most at ease. And it might be that you need to give it some assistance to do that. So you might need to sort of shift or move or prop yourself in a slightly different way. You might find it comforting to place your hands on your body. So sometimes a placement of the hands around the abdomen, the ribs, the chest. And then go back to revisiting how the surface of the body feels, connecting with the surfaces beneath you. So that sense of almost the body feeling held. Know that it's okay to let go of any held tension that you might have in your body at this time. So I'm going to do a very simple rotation of your awareness. I'm just going to start with all of your toes, by just being aware of all of your toes. And being aware of your feet, of the heels and the ankles, of the shins and the calves, of the knees, the fronts, the sides, the backs of the knee. And being aware of the thighs, the front, the inner, the outer, the back of the thigh. And being aware of both of your hip joints, of the sides of your body, so the sides of your waist, the left and the right sides of your rib cage, your under armpit, both of your shoulders. And being aware of both of your arms, both elbows, of your lower arms, of your wrists, of your hands, of both of your thumbs and all of your fingers. And transfer your attention to the back of your body. So an awareness of both of your glutes. The area of the lower back, the back of the pelvis. And then moving up to the mid-back, so the back of the rib cage, both your shoulder blades, and awareness of your upper back, to the back of the neck, back of the head, the top of the head and the forehead. An awareness of both of your eyes, both ears, of your nose, of both of your nostrils. An awareness of your mouth, of your tongue, of the throat, the neck. An awareness of both of your collarbones, the front of the chest or breast area, the front of the ribs. An awareness of your upper abdomen, your navel region, the lower abdomen, of the pelvic bowl. Have a sense of the whole of the body. And invite your body to rest. Can I allow you just a few moments of quiet time? If you find this time uncomfortable, then maybe just gently being aware of the coming and the going of your breath. So as you begin to feel ready, maybe allow your breath to deepen just a little. And as your breath starts to deepen, you might just wish to gently start to allow some movement back into the body, whatever way feels right for you. Allowing ourselves to stretch, to yawn, to sigh. If you are lying on your back, you might want to gently roll to one side. If you've been on your side, you might want to push yourself onto your back. As you begin to feel ready, I'd like you to push yourself into an upright position again. You may wish to sit on something, lean against something, somewhere that you feel comfortable. We're going to reconnect with Padma Mudra again, so that lotus flower. So bringing the thumb and the fingers, the little fingers together, creating that cup in front of our chest. And again, just acknowledging how our cup may be feeling at this time. Whether there's any difference between when we first came to it and how we are now. Maybe some of the fears or worries or anxieties have just softened a little. Again, I'd like you to just spend a few moments just maybe reflecting upon how this cup may feel fuller. Maybe it's ways that we could support our physical health, our mental well-being. The boundaries that we may need to create. But also the love and the connection that we sometimes really strive for, particularly around this time. Allowing your breath and the intentions and the wisdom from within you to fill your cup with whatever you need. You may find it useful to repeat this affirmation silently in your mind. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I be well. And all of that good stuff that you've gathered in your cup. I want you to now turn your hands and kind of bring all of that energy and push it into the center of the chest. Push it into that heart area. Breathe in all of that goodness, all of that love and support for yourself. I'd invite you to maybe just think about the people that are sharing this experience with you. So those in this room or those that are connected electronically with us. And just offer these words silently in your mind. May we all be happy. May we all be peaceful. May we all be well. May we all be happy. May we all be peaceful. May we all be well. Sending that love and gratitude to yourself. Sending that love and gratitude to each other. To close our practice, I would invite you to join me in the mantra Om 3 times, the mantra Shanti 3 times. And what better way to close our practice than sending peace to ourselves, sending peace to each other, and sending peace out into the world. So taking a breath in and a breath out. A breath in, ready to chant or listen. Om. 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 Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Just taking this time to recognize, hopefully, that you feel a little bit more calmer, a little bit more present. And as we step into these holidays and all that they represent for all of us, know that what we've created is always here. Sometimes we just need to find that little bit of space to connect. So I wish you all very happy, healthy, and whatever holidays you need them to be. Om Shanti. Thank you, everybody, for your time. Take your time. There's no rush at all. We can tap into it. Yeah. It takes practice. It takes practice. Yeah. Because we live in a world where we're not invited to be so connected with ourselves. So, finding ways that you can do that, even in little pockets of the day. I did it yesterday. I went and sat in the car and just needed a bit of space on my own, and it was really nice just to You're like, I'm just going to have a minute where I'm just going to check in. That's all I need. You know. Thank you, everybody online.
Thank you, Daniel. That was lovely. Have a
Really
lovely Christmas
welcome.
and New Year, and I'll see you in January.
Yeah, see you January.
All right,
Thank you.
take care. Thank you.